Hey guys, Chris here from Cohesive Friendship Unit. I'm with Jake,
Hey guys.
Jeremy,
What up?
and Brian.
What's going on?
And today we are going to talk a little bit about the hashtag going around, especially large on Twitter right now, gamestruck or gamestruck4. And we are going to be forming our gamestruck4, because it's four games that define you, either your gaming self or your actual self. And there are four of us.
I am not defined by a video game. I am an individual. I stand on my own.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to put that out there.
But there are four of us, and that could make four games that could define us as a cohesive friendship unit.
Okay, I'll take that.
Fair enough. So before we begin, real quick, comments are great, subs are great, likes are great, and check your message box for that copy of Far Cry 5. You guys did a great job hitting 150 subs. If it's not claimed, every 48 hours we pick a new winner. So, GameStruck. Who would like to go first, Brian or Jake?
I can go first.
Jake's going first.
So, my game that I picked was Oblivion. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And I'm guessing I have to give some reasons, or else this would be kind of a lame video. So,
Yes.
I thought I picked Oblivion because I think it was the first game that I really got totally absorbed in the aesthetics of the game. I know, like, just saying aesthetics makes me cringe a little bit because it's what all the people go to when they want to describe something good about a game when it wasn't fun. But I thought that Oblivion was beautiful, and the environment was really, it like captured that fantasy vibe. And ever since that game, even though there was a lot of things wrong with Oblivion, I've really enjoyed the games that really capture the whole package, which is a fun game, a really good theme, a really good art style, really good music. It just ties everything together. So, like, one of my other favorite games is the Dark Souls series, which I think also does a fantastic job of capturing a dark theme mixed with a beautiful setting, and like the gameplay mirrors that, the theme, the music, the environments, everything. So pretty much since Oblivion, I've really loved games that are able to tie in that everything together, combining gameplay, art, music, and really presenting one complete, a really beautiful theme.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, I remember when I think I got the game first on the Xbox Marketplace, and I was like, Jake, you got to get this game.
Yeah.
And we played it like nonstop for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, I remember
It was
I got a house in that game, and I filled it with a ton of like stuff I found from around Oblivion, and there was no point to it at all. And I did it. I just like filled it with like armor and all this stuff, and it was awesome.
As you do.
Nice. Okay, Brian, what's your game?
All right. My game. I'm gonna go all the way back to when I was like a proper child. So this would have been probably about 2000. Roller Coaster Tycoon. If I'm gonna have to pick one that I thought was the best, I would say probably when I was a kid, Deluxe. Kind of like what Jake was saying about getting drawn in by the artwork. This was one of, I don't know, it was the first time that I really got sucked into sort of a game world. And not that there's really so much of a world in an artistic sense to Roller Coaster Tycoon, but the aspects of managing the park and like putting the rides together and all the other stuff that goes with that, and kind of seeing how all of those pieces fit in together and worked with each other. I didn't realize that's what it was at the time, but even as a kid, I found a lot of replay value in that. You know, I could play that game, and I still can play that game for hours and hours on end. And not really get bored of it. Just sort of playing around with the environment, the park, and all the different stuff, just to kind of see what happens. I think that was the first game that I played that was really a sim game, that wasn't like, oh, go shoot this guy, or like beat these people, or jump on the turtles, or whatever. That the game was just sort of open-ended. I mean, you can win the scenario, but there's a lot of different ways to do that, and it just appealed to me and kind of the way I think, and I really enjoyed playing that. But up until about 2006, when that particular copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe developed a hairline crack in the CD-ROM, and when I was installing it, it exploded in my CD drive, and I was not able to play that game again until I downloaded a pirated copy about 8-9 years later. So, yeah, that's mine.
Pour one out for the original disc, dude.
No, I had to. Well, see, I even in death, it taught me something, because I had to take the fucking drive apart and take all the little bits and pieces of CD-ROM.
It's like the fucking gimmick tree, dude.
There's so many layers
CD
on this story.
CD-ROMs. If you've never had a CD-ROM explode, it's like when a car windshield shatters and it just explodes into a million tiny pieces. That's what it's like. Except you gotta pick all those little pieces out of your circuit boards and whatnot. But I learned what a disk drive looked like on the inside.
All right. Yeah, that's a good pick. I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. I remember getting it at a book fair.
I got both of my copies of Roller Coaster Tycoon at a book fair.
There
Good
you
times,
go.
man. Scholastic. That was good shit.
Good times, man. $14.99. Okay, so I think we are going over to Jeremy now. What is your pick?
So my pick is Pokemon Yellow. Chris is going to pick something different. The behind the scenes is that Chris had originally picked Pokemon Blue. So we have a little bit of common ground on that. My thinking was similar to Brian's. I kind of just thought, in terms of like a game that like defined me or whatever. I don't know. I thought of like a game that I was really nostalgic for. So I just started to think of games that I spent a lot of time playing or like really enjoyed when I was a kid. So I thought about maybe Vice City, or I thought about Jak and Daxter, or Croc, or Spyro. And I decided ultimately to go with Pokemon Yellow, because similar to what Jake had said, it was kind of the first time where I got super sucked into a game when I was like 5. And part of it was that I was 5, so I sucked. And I also didn't know how to save the game. So whenever I wanted to play it, I would have to leave it running or the game would be over. So like the furthest I ever got when I was first playing the game was to like Misty. And I just have a lot of really vivid memories of playing Pokemon Yellow, like playing it at my grandma's house, playing it, waiting to go out to dinner with my family, playing it in the car on a road trip with my Game Boy Color with all my additional like add-ons. Like I had the magnifying glass screen that had built-in lights and all this stuff. One specific kind of memory that I have of it is because again, I like sucked, so I didn't know how to play the game. So I remember one time I had fought Brock like probably 20 times in a row or something, and I eventually ended up beating him with like a Caterpie with only a few like hit points left. I beat his fucking Onix with my Caterpie, and I like flipped out. And I'm still a big Pokemon fan. I don't know that it necessarily shaped my attitudes towards games a lot, but it was just a game that I enjoyed a shit ton when I was a little kid. Something that I really kind of shaped, was a big part of my early childhood.
Got you to like games.
I mean, we're fucking like wired to like games. It's all sorts of positive feedback loops, but I definitely liked that shit.
Nice.
I have 2 tragic tidbits. I'm just filled with tragedy tonight.
Oh no.
Related to Pokemon. First off, well, this wasn't tragic for me, but I never actually owned a copy of Pokemon Yellow. I just put extensive time into one of my friend's cartridges. Jeremy, if you're listening, I'm sorry. The first thing I did when he let me borrow was I opened the save file, and then I kept it for the next year and a half or so.
You didn't have a copy, dude. That's fucking criminal. Child
it
services should have come for you, dude.
I had Super Mario Brothers, so I was meeting the minimums. But I beat Lance, and I was so excited that I like threw my hands up in excitement, and I flicked the power switch on my Game Boy, turned it off. I had to go all the way back,
No.
like not just back to the beginning of the Elite Four, like all the way back to the beginning of the fucking road. It was terrible.
That's hard.
I
when you're a
actually
kid.
cried. I actually cried.
Because when you're in a kid, you don't notice save before you fight Lance. Like
Nope. I
you just
learned
don't.
that
Those
thing, though.
fucking
Sick
neuro
hacks.
processors don't exist
Go
yet.
learn today.
Sick hacks.
Yeah, great game.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I just want to piggyback on the Pokemon thing because yeah, it was gonna be my pick, but I think a big part of the reason that I got my degree in biology is from Pokemon. The more I think back on it, which is it's like yeah, it's more like it influencing me as a person because I mean, I liked animals and stuff, but I wasn't like obsessed with them. I wasn't like watching, the Nature Channel or Animal Planet on my spare time. And I think Pokemon was honestly a big reason why I kind of fell in love with biology. And last thing on Pokemon, I have pre-ordered Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and the last game I pre-ordered was Pokemon Leaf Green. So.
Leaf Green,
Yeah, so over
I
10
think Fire
years.
Red is the only game I've ever pre-ordered.
10 years between Yep. Okay. So yeah, I mean, my pick is probably a little trite, I guess. It's Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. My first memory playing Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was at my cousin's house during a holiday because that was when I saw her, and at this point in my life, I wasn't playing games, and really, I didn't care that it was in 3D or that the world was open. Like none of that mattered to me. All that mattered was that I was sucked in, and I remember playing through that opening tutorial area and beating the first dungeon, and that in itself was like a whole huge adventure. And I'd played games before, a fair amount, but when I had finished this dungeon, I honestly thought I had to be close to the end of the game because it was just so much and so much to see and so much to do. And I was like, this has to be it because you could back when the side-scrolling Mario's were out, you could beat those in one setting no problem. So I was like, oh, this was incredible, and that was literally like less than 10% of the game. So that's that got me. What?
Can I just ask you something?
Yeah.
Did you just claim that as an 8-year-old beat one of the side-scrolling Marios in one sitting?
He was a
not in one
prodigy.
setting. No, but I knew where the warp pipes were. I knew that you could get to World 8. Like I probably couldn't beat it in one setting, but I knew how to get places.
Got to 8-3, never went past it.
Like, yeah, I could get to 8-1 in 10 minutes. It's easy because it's 3 worlds. But anyways, so that kind of got me like really into that was the moment when I was like I need to get an N64 and start playing some video games on the reg, and that was kind of what got me to dive headfirst in gaming. But beyond that, I think the fact that in that game in particular, Link is young for so much of the game, like he's a kid for a solid half, it kind of encouraged young me to, I don't know, do some exploring and do some, because that's the whole game. It's exploring and puzzle solving and adventuring. And I think the fact that they starred a child played a big role in me wanting to do some exploring. And I think that's carried on through my life. But that's also part of why I like Pokemon, because it's a 10-year-old who's on his own, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, cool. So I think that's a solid list. We got Ocarina of Time. We got Pokemon Yellow. We got Roller Coaster Tycoon. We have Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Those are not bad games.
It's a good ass list.
Yeah, well,
Fantastic.
why would we put bad games on our list of our favorite games? We're not idiots.
Well, yeah, but
We're not fucking stupid.
I think that's a solid, cohesive gamestruck.
Was that a
Yeah.
coding reference?
Yeah.
No. No. Okay, so Brian, do you wanna let us know what's what?
Yeah, sure, guys. And if you think we're in, you let us know down in the comments there. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and that you click that little ringy dingy in the top right corner of your screen so you can be updated of all the cool stuff that's going on here at the Cohesive Friendship Unit. That's all for me, Chris.
All right, guys. Yeah, we will see you guys next time.